right this very moment. If you're watching me live, I'm on a delay of anywhere from 2 to 20 seconds, which means you are actually viewing past events. If you're watching this after it's been processed, who knows how far back in time you are? But that's not the real question. What if you actually had a time machine, could go back, make changes? What would you do? Let's find out. Hello, everyone, future, past, and present caller ballers. How are you this evening? This is the Video Call-In Show, that show that invites you to be a live video guest on this program to talk about anything you want to talk about at any time. Joining is real easy. All you've got to do is hit zoom.us, put that into your browser, click on join a meeting, and when it asks for it, enter that meeting number, and you will come up in my green room, and I will bring you up. First come, first served, and we'll talk about what can talk about the subject tonight, or we can talk about anything you'd like to talk about. My job, and I am Jim, your host, my job for the next hour is to listen and learn to and about you. Thanks for joining us, folks. If this is the kind of content that excites you, maybe you want to watch and want to be on the show, then by all means, hit that subscribe button right now. Ring that bell. You won't miss another episode. And by the way, if you'd like to support this channel, buy my merch or sign up for a subscribe star subscription. Get something for your money. Don't give it to YouTube. Thanks for joining us, folks. Tonight's subject. Well, let me say hello first, and of course, this is before I actually bring on my first guest. King Jellybean, how are you, my friend? He says he needed to get on first because I don't have one. Wendell Live is waiting patiently. Hello, Wendell. How you doing? Manuel Goffey, hello to you, sir. Good to see you again. Susan Hamilton, pleasure as always. Creator Spotlight Show, how you doing, Mike? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Bearded Tech Guy, hello to you. Kids Connection, good to see you again. Well, thank you so much. It's kind of a curse, isn't it? Because you get to see me in high def. Thunderboom Pyro, welcome to the show. I don't think I've seen your name here, but welcome, welcome, welcome. If you didn't hear how this works, I invite anybody up at any time to talk about anything they'd like to talk about. Joining is real easy. All you've got to do is point your browser to zoom.us, click on join a meeting, and enter that meeting number. As soon as it asks for it, you'll show up in my green room, and I'll bring you up. First come, first serve. And as time allows. I know some folks dial in late, and I can't get to everyone, but I try to. We also have Story of Dory. How you doing? Welcome. So anyway, tonight's subject, before we bring up our first guest, who is dying to talk about this, I'm sure, is time travel. What would you do if you had a time machine? Isn't that one of the most perplexing questions? And no, what I'm talking about here is pure and clean. We don't have to worry about paradoxes. We don't have to worry about what may happen if you alter the past to a great extent, because we all know that it can have a domino effect, and usually most research, or at least thought, think takes think it's a bad idea. Hello, Not a Great Gamer. Good to see you, man. Think it's not a good idea because there's so many things that can be changed just by a small change at all. But we're going to throw that caution to the wind. I just want to know, where would you go? A little known fact. The most popular, whenever asked this question, the most popular answer was back to the 60s for some reason. I don't know why it would be the 60s. And of course, there are all sorts of other things that people will want to go back to. Oh, by the way, did I forget? Oh, that's shameful of me. Shameful. I'll get to it in a minute. But it's something that everyone contemplates. Where would I go back to? Would I go back and talk to historical figures? Would I go back and talk to myself? Would I go back and talk to my parents? Would I go back, meet my grandparents perhaps I didn't get to meet, all that sort of thing? I want to know from you where you would go. Let me see here for just a second. I think it's a fascinating exploration. I'll tell you mine a little bit later in the show. I don't want to give anything away, but let's do something here before I get into that. Well, tell you what, Give me just a second here. I've got just an adjustment to
What's
make.
up?
We're going to hear a duplication here, as always. By the way, tonight's subject is once again brought to you by Outdoorsy Gallo. Outdoorsy Gallo has just supplied me with a ton of suggestions, and I can't thank you enough, Chrissy. I see yours in the chat now. Welcome to the show. I can't thank you enough. Um, but Outdoorsy Gal Zero, she's killing it with the outdoor videos, some cooking, just a whole lot of things. Fresh tortilla machine. But go check her out if you get a chance. And thank you once again, Chrissy, for giving all these great ideas. And I've also got some more coming up because I've gotten a recent flood of new topic ideas. So we'll be going over those. But having said that, let us bring up our first guest here in a moment. As soon as they turn on their camera and the microphone, we will get them up. But think about it just for a minute. Is it not something that you've thought about before? Would you go back and tell yourself, oh, to do it right this time? Would you go back and smack yourself upside the head? Would you go back and hello, King?
Hello.
There you are. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. How are you? It's been a while.
It's been a little while. Yeah, yeah. I know you tried to get on last night and then you had to drop off. What was that all about?
Well, because of school starting, I'm trying to go to bed earlier, and so I set this 30 minutes that whatever I'm doing with work or anything, I stop at 10 o'clock, so I can get on this stream first.
Oh, that is too kind, man. Love hearing that. Love hearing that. Welcome, Joseph Grohl. How you doing, buddy? So you're thinking heavily about this subject, or did you want to talk about something else?
Well, I will give you one of the answers, but
Okay.
then I do have something else to talk about. I know I never come up here and talk about the subject anymore.
It's okay. No, literally, it's okay. I mean, that's what this show is all about. I want you guys to talk about what you want to talk about. I merely throw topics out to to give everyone something to think about. Some people really want to talk about the topics when I bring them up. Others don't, and it's fine either way. So lay it on me, man.
Okay, so I would I would like to go if I had a time machine. I would probably go back to the time period of the Great Depression,
Ooh, interesting. Do tell.
because I would like to see how people really lived. I want to see how it kind of went down more and just study it more, so it can help me with my studies with
Your,
all
mi-
that. So that was something that I would do.
can you where's your microphone at? Is it close to you?
Um,
It's just a little
Actually,
low.
every time I put headphones in, it ruins it. So let me see if this will work. One little adjustment here. It shouldn't take
Okay.
very long.
I just don't want anybody to miss this. Because that's a fascinating idea is go back to the depression. I didn't even expect to hear that.
Exactly. Is this better?
Oh, that is so much better.
I plugged in my snowball, so
Oh,
it should.
perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, you should do that every time.
Right. Um. So yeah, it was really interesting because today I was doing a lot of research because I did a big speech earlier, which I'll talk about in just a second.
Okay.
But and I was doing some research and because I saw what your topic was, and I was like, ooh. And I got to thinking about it, and then I looked back at some things from the Great Depression. I was like, that would be a great place to go because you would be able to actually see what people went through face to face with them. Because you can't believe everything that's been told because some of the people that tell that today they weren't alive back then, so you can't believe everything that you're told.
That's absolutely
So,
correct.
so yeah, that would be something I would do.
That's fascinating. And what intrigues you about the era of depression, the depression age?
Well, it intrigues me because I've read about it, and it intrigues me because how bad it was,
Hmm.
and I always talk about I focused on the worst parts of things to make it better because you have to study the worst parts before you can make it better. So that's what gets me intrigued into wanting to go there because I want to see how bad it was and how they were able to get out of it as hard as they could, as much as work, because it proves another point that I was talking about earlier, which was no matter what your situation is, you can get out of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. As bad as things get, all you can do is go up from there.
Exactly.
And you've got to keep digging. You got to keep going. So wow, that's pretty cool actually. King, I didn't expect that, and and now you've got me thinking about going back to that era to find out exactly what you're talking about because it made it's one of those what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And those that came out of the depression, um, you know, on their feet, they were definitely stronger people. And I think actually I think we've lost a lot of that stick to itiveness, that work ethic, and I hope it doesn't take another catastrophe to bring that back. But it would be wonderful to sit down and talk to some of those people, especially post depression. I'd like to talk to people that went through it. Had to go to the soup lines. Maybe were caught in the dust bowl, and then find out what kept them going. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, you had something else you wanted to talk about.
Yes, I have a little short speech because I don't have long anyway, as it is, because I'm getting out of here very soon. I have to. But I did a speech. I've been updating all my new statistics because I told you guys that I postponed our first topic because people keep asking me why, and I'm like, I'm not telling you until I get ready to. But the reason, here you all go, listen to me, everybody, don't miss this. The reason is because of all these problems. Mass shootings over the weekend, first of all. Suicide rates have gone up again a little bit. Gun violence, here we go again. And all these statistics that we were talking about the other day about how they've been going down, all of a sudden it's like, ooh, spike. And I'm like, no, that's not how this is going to work.
Yeah.
So I decided to do a speech, and I got all new statistics for several different topics that I'm not going to really go into, of course, but because I haven't had time to do all of them. And I talked about random things. Basically, it wasn't like one of those planned speeches because what makes a speech good, it doesn't always have to be planned. Because whenever you get out there and you just start speaking, other than just reading off of a paper,
Hmm.
you come up with these other things that come into your head, and you get a bigger message out. I just recorded half of the speech that I'm going to upload tomorrow on my channel because I did it on the Change Project channel.
Hmm.
Because I really want people to not miss it because the words in that speech will change people's lives.
Mm, cool.
And yeah, and a couple of things that I said, I'll give a couple little hints.
All
The
right.
first one
Little
was,
tidbits.
of course, do what?
A little tidbits. Little teasers.
The first part during it was, like I said earlier, no matter what you go through, no matter how deep dark you go, you can get out of it, and it's proven. People's done it.
Hmm.
It's been proven because people try to tell me they can't, and I'm like, because people go to their all-time low and they're just like, there's no way up. Try hard enough, you will. Second thing is, here's a fun topic that don't get mad at me, people, because I don't use it, and I was really rough with this. It's what I told people. I was like, I'm tired of being nice. Nice is not working anymore.
No more Mr.
Not
Nice Guy for you or for anyone?
well. I used to be a little bit more calmer with these topics. Like I
Hmm.
was big with them, but I was calmer. And every now and then we had those spikes of like really strong words coming at you. And I was like, this is not to be violent. This is not to be hateful. But it's time. And we have a new little phrase, and it goes two ways. It either goes, um, well, crap, I just forgot it. Oh wait, no, I got it. It's time to make a stand. These problems are getting out of hand, or flip flopped. So that's our new little saying because they're getting out of hand again. They were out of hand when we started, and now they got calmer. They're not. You didn't hear about them as much. Now they're coming back every single day, all over again, and it repeats. And that's the second thing I talked about was history. How come we go based off of just history? I was like, if we just go based off history, it repeats itself. If we don't learn about history, it repeats itself.
Well,
If we
that's
don't try
that's
to
the thing. I mean, those are two
yeah,
those are two diametrically opposed viewpoints. You have to learn from history, otherwise you are doomed to repeat it. Is what you're trying to say, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I was like, but if you just take what you learn and not try to make it better, it's still going to repeat itself because you're not trying to fix those problems to keep it from going. And I was like, the biggest thing that I tell people is the world's not perfect. Never will
Oh,
be.
never will be. No.
Yeah. was like, so don't try. I said, if you try, you're gonna fail because
Mhm.
it's just not possible. I was like, but and this is the biggest part of it. Don't miss it for those people in the back. What I kept telling people over and over, don't miss it. If you can stop one person from doing one thing, whether it be taking a drug, killing themselves, killing somebody, doing one bad thing, that 0.11, I'm not wrong, 0.0000 on 1% doesn't seem that big, right? But it's huge because you just dropped that statistic one by that percent. You
Oh,
dropped it.
sure. Oh, sure. But you're also talking to several people, so the effect is amplified. You know,
Yeah,
if they take your advice.
yeah,
It's one of the reasons I close my show out with what I do, and I do that because I want that to become ingrained in our lexicon, like it was when I grew up.
yeah. And
And
it's
then
like, one of those domino effects. You push one domino and the rest of them fall.
that's
Because
true.
that one, it will keep going. And people help people every day, the homeless, the needy, all of this. But if we could just build, like, the wall, if we could build a wall of change and push it, because I was like, even if you don't want to make a change, because people don't like change, even if you don't have the time, even if you going up an elevator, going to school, going to work, walking down the sidewalk, could say one thing to a person, one little thing could change your life, and that life is going to be changed forever, and it will continue to spread. That's the one thing I want people to know is that one thing.
Well, fortunately for you, that plays right into the subject matter when you think about it. Remember, I was talking about the paradoxes of time travel.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we actually are living in the past right now. No, okay, now, but now, yeah, now, and now we're in the past, and just now.
Yeah. Over and over and over.
So over and over and over. So everything we do up to the moment of reality, it changes everything moving forward, but it changes nothing in our past. Now, I would say two things to you, given what you just said. One is when you start, I think we had this discussion a bit ago about the prevalence of the 24-hour news cycle and how the perception is that all these things, everything's terrible, and it's worse than it ever was, and that sort of thing, which is statistically untrue.
Yeah.
And that is because most people don't have a perspective on it. All they have is the perspective of the current news cycle. So I would implore everyone to look at the numbers before you start making assumptions about how horrible things are, and that goes for everything that you hear about today, right? I heard somebody just the other day say, you know, is racism worse now than it was in like the 60s? And if it is, tell us how that happened. Well, it's not. I mean, it's ridiculous to even think that it is, but it's such a perception for most people, and they're being told it from all different angles, and nobody's looking at the evidence or the numbers. So perspective is arguably the most important part of that, looking back in time, at history and learning from it. And I'd also say this is point number two, in that I don't think people only look to learn from the past to not repeat it, but I think they also use that information to, one, drive their government in a direction that will keep that from happening, or themselves keep things from happening. So it makes it better for future generations that may not have the luxury of seeing that particular history firsthand. You see what I mean? And I think that is something that is just constant. It's part of society, always has been. We're losing a bit of it right now. That may be a perception, a misperception on my part, but I hope you could use some of that in your speech, because I think it's unbelievably important for people to gain perspective and not just listen to what's being thrown in their ears by other people, but go out and find the numbers, the statistics, and find out what the real problem is. Was it you and I talking about the breakdown in family, the family unit that's partly responsible for all this, or was that me and Easton?
I don't think it was me, but I think I
Okay,
heard about it. Yes.
yeah, yeah. I think that's one of the biggest problems with today. Government incentivized breakdown of the family, and that's because we pay families to be apart. And when you incentivize something like that, you get more of it. When you don't have a stable home life, chances are things aren't going to be stable for more people as they move into adulthood. So I think I got lucky. My parents split when I was I don't know, what was it? I was just around a year old, and but I had one parent that was stable as all get out. The other one was a good person, but made some bad decisions. But that doesn't always happen, and I think the government should incentivize keeping the family unit together more than they try to already. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent, which I'm apt to do. But yeah, you're a young man, and you're listening to somebody who's very much older than you, and have seen a lot of these cycles go through. Um, like take for instance child abduction. When I was younger, man, I people my age, when we were kids, we had free reign. We could just do anything we wanted to. I can remember being much less than 10 years old and crossing major streets, riding my bike everywhere, um, probably doing some things I shouldn't do. And I lived to tell the story. All we had to do was be home when the streetlights came on, and nobody worried about um, child abduction. We all had, and this is an anecdotal evidence base of a much grander scale than just my own experience. Um, but we only worried about the guys in trench coats for some odd reason. And whenever there was a stranger that came up to us, we'd have nothing to do with them. Almost naturally, it was almost. Well, I'm sure we were told, but it just came naturally. Now, I can remember when my son was growing up, and you must forgive me because I don't mean to hog all this, King. I'll shut up here in a minute. Um, but I think about when my son was coming up, and how not only my wife and myself looked at things differently then because we didn't have perspective and didn't let him do a lot of the same things I got to do. And that really bothers me when I think about that, especially once I learned the statistics later on and found out that he was less likely to be abducted than I was. And we were more protective. And I thought that was probably silly because, and no, nothing wrong with, or, not saying my boy doesn't have these skills, but at his age, I was much more able to cope with things than he was because of that. And I think it's a huge mistake to miss that. So, all right, that's my soapbox. I'm sorry, King. I didn't mean to
Well,
do
get
that.
ready to go because I have to get off here by 10:30, so I'll probably leave around 10:25, which is about 2 minutes. But I do have
Okay.
two more things to say.
Sure. Go ahead, man.
Two more little topics, little sentences, and then I'm gonna give my outro, and then I'm gonna be like, "Hey, bye." But one other thing is immigration. Now, I'm not going into what you think, politics and crap, because that's so stupid. You don't
Yeah,
go
we're not.
into that.
Yeah, I don't like to talk politics or religion on this channel.
No, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
No, it's not something you want to go into because it always leads to bad things.
Yeah.
What I talk about
Nobody's
is
going to
how.
agree on everything. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, how is immigration become a bad word? I was like, the news tells you a lot, and they don't tell you in these exact words, but it's kind of thrown at you
Hmm.
that immigrants will take your house, they'll put you on the streets, they'll get everything for free, they'll do drugs and stuff like
They're
this, and I'm
they're
like,
taking our germs. That was a South Park thing.
exactly. I'm like, that's not true, people. I'm like, look at us. Look at where we came from. Did we come from America? No. We came from other countries. We came to America,
Yep.
and now we were a great nation.
Hmm.
We were a nation of people who were allowed people to get better lives, to become free for who they are.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, it was like, oh, immigrants are bad. And it was like, well, if they're bad, then we're all bad. Like, oh, I'm gonna steal. I told him on the stream, I was like, well, if that's true, then Jim's gonna steal your house. I'm gonna steal your house. We're all gonna steal your house. Sorry, that's how it is.
Don't
Sorry.
don't let him in on my plan, man. I'm stealing
That's
all your
what
houses.
And I was like, none of it's true. I was like, if people, I know, almost done. I was like, if people would just learn to be nicer, the world would change.
That's exactly how I close my show. Now, before you get into your little close, I do want to say this that I don't know anyone who is anti-immigrant. I know a shit ton of people who are anti-illegal immigration, but nobody has any problem with people coming over that really want to be citizens of this great country. Zero problem on all sides of the political spectrum. It's just when they come in and try to take stuff without asking permission, for lack of a better term, and breaking the law. I mean,
Yeah.
that's another perception problem, King. You know what I mean? Everybody's thinking that the people hate immigrants, and that's so not the case. That is so not what is being said out there. They're saying we don't want people coming in and cutting the line. We want people to go through the process, just like our ancestors did, and boom, come in, be a good citizen. You welcome you with open arms. And this is somebody who's admittedly right on the spectrum. I'll just say that without going into politics. But the perception is that the right is anti-immigration, and that is so not true. Okay, so floor is yours. You got to go. I know. Say your outro, and I got to get my next guest up.
So, guys, I just want to say that the speech, and I go into a lot of the stuff about the perception and stuff. I go into much more detail in the speech.
Good.
This is what we're talking about. So head over. This is a plug. I don't have time to put the link, but you guys know it. Search up the Change Project. Look for our logo. Watch the speech. It's only 50 minutes. If you can take that time to watch YouTube, listen to it on your way to work. Just listen to it. You don't have to watch me sit there and just listen to it. Anyway, with that being said, remember, change starts with you. Don't let this weight gain on our shoulders anymore. Become the next big change.
Well said,
I've
my.
done my part.
Yep.
Will you do yours?
Well said,
Bye,
my friend.
everybody.
Thanks, King. You have a good evening, man.
You too.
Bye bye. Kid's got a pretty good head on his shoulders. I mean, fortunately, I didn't have, most people my age didn't have to think about that when we were that age. So I applaud him for that. Before I bring up my next guest, I do want to say hello to a few people who jumped in while I was yammering. Jesse Mendez, how you doing, buddy? Northern Ohio Railroad Action, the Northern Ohio. How you doing, pal? Patty Broussard, how you doing, hon? Good to see you again. I know I saw somebody else in here. Ghana, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see. Take a hike, Nightbot. Back from the sky, how you doing? Good to see you. Hazelite Siren, welcome. I love that name. I absolutely love that name. Hazelite Siren. Cool. All right, let's bring our next time traveler in.
Oh, you are blessed, aren't you? You are blessed.
I am blessed. How? Oh, because you showed up. I would agree.
I'm always up there. I'm the stalker that everyone wants to see. I've got my glasses on, therefore you can't see me.
The man of mystery.
Man of mystery. Look, I'm not going to be too long, because I hijack your stuff all the time. I just wanted to say this is an amazing subject.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So what would you do?
This is going to be very deep. As how to word this? I need to be careful how I word this. As a white Englishman, I believe that we have committed many sins, especially the British Empire. Couple of the things I really don't like. What we did, for example, to Zululand, going in there with rifles, rockets, and cannons, and shooting at men with spears.
Yeah.
I know probably I'm going to sound like I'm trying to be an omnipresent being or a holier than thou, but I would love for us to be able to retract all of that.
Yeah.
And maybe start the process of realizing that we're all equal a few centuries prior instead of what's going on now.
Boy, isn't that true for just about every civilization since the dawn of man? I mean, it's
England's one of the oldest. We've got a lot more to us.
well, true. But it's almost it's all a part of our evolution where we're trying to get to the point where we don't harm our fellow man, especially on a mass scale, like we have so many times in the past. Uh, and wow, how do you make up for something like that? That'd be my question.
I'd go. The reparations are pointless.
Hmm.
You've still got, people screaming for reparations for what the Germans did, for example. But if we did that,
Sure.
then there could be reparations for what we did. But then there's reparations for what other countries did. It would just be never-ending circle.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How
So
far back would you go? I mean, every race in the history of mankind has enslaved another.
I think around the Tudor times would be where I would visit. Around that time, the Spanish had already set up that colony was it Florida?
The Tudors? I'm not sure.
No,
Oh.
in the 1500s.
Hmm.
That was when, and then the British come over.
I think you're
Around
right.
that time, when you started colonizing America, I think, because when you first went over there, for example, what the Americans did to the Red Indians, I don't agree with.
Hmm.
But when you first went over there, they helped you colonize. They helped you set up the land.
Yeah.
It's proven in history. Things like this, I'd like to be able to erase. Not everything, because humans aren't perfect. And we can't live in a bubble, but just as I get older and I learn much more about wisdom, and I feel I become less naive to the goings on around me. And I think with that's why elderly people, well, not elderly people, should I say, but people with age have a lot different opinions than younger,
Mhm.
because you get wisdom and experience. And as I get older, I get more and more disgusted with my nation. I'm proud of who I am, but at the same time, oh, I get angry because I figure out we do more and more stuff. Like, for example, right now in the UK, we're forgetting the elderly. We're just
Mm.
letting them die,
Yeah.
and the disabled, just letting them die. I don't agree with it. And this isn't. People are probably going to go, "This has nothing to do with time travel." We could sort this if there was time travel. However, what if are we running on the singular time travel line theory here, or multiverse?
I'm thinking probably single, just to keep it, for argument's sake. The multi that gets a little complicated, and of course,
Right,
the argument would be the moment you go back in time, you've created a different timeline. So
with the multiverse,
yeah,
that would be.
yeah,
But if
yep,
you're running on singular, would that not mean that you are going to constantly keep going back in time at the same period anyway, because you've created that loop?
sure would.
Well, then this is a completely irrelevant conversation. Thanks for wasting my bloody time. Jesus
who
Christ!
who says we
Oh,
haven't already?
you actually, it wouldn't surprise me if there is we are we well we are traveling through time right now, all of us. Time is a man-made concept,
Yes.
and we're moving forward. Therefore, we move through time. To if you actually want to go time travel, go to space, gravitational pull. I wouldn't be much sure how much less it would be on the International Space Station. Probably seconds, milliseconds, but time does move slower.
Yes.
If you could land on Jupiter, which you couldn't because it's a gas giant and the density would crash you to a pulp, but time would move forward like that.
Yeah.
It's I think people have harnessed time travel somewhere or something, or we've got. It would be fascinating to see what happens. It would be nice to see a world without nukes, where there's still not people in Africa starving to death whilst there's other countries that have got mountains full of food. Stuff like that angers me, and we could sort all of that out. Like I saw a footage the other day of somewhere in Los Angeles, and it's just this street full of homeless people living in tents. And I'm
Oh
thinking,
yeah. Oh yeah.
take care of your own. But without time travel, I don't know. I think by the time we realise, at the moment, the way we're going, like holy bugger, I don't want to swear, we're screwing ourselves over. I think it's too late. We've already had Chernobyl, Fukushima. The English bombs that nuclear bombed the hell out of Australia just because we couldn't. It was a testing ground. You did your stuff in Nevada. I just think all this radiation and landfill and all of that. Without a time machine, or an exodus to another planet, we could well be buggered, and it saddens me, sir.
Yeah, and it does me. But here I'm going to give you a little bit of feel good here.
Ooh,
The don't get too excited.
oh,
This is video. This isn't. We haven't teleported. Think for a moment of here. Here's a great example. You said the 15th century, or was it 1500s? One of the two. Think about
it's only
being.
100 years apart.
Yeah.
Continue.
Think about being in that time, or no. Think about worse. Think about being. I don't know, a Roman subject, right? And how, or maybe even a Roman slave, and how horrible that would have been.
A Roman in the 1500s.
No. I went back further, and
all right.
and think about what they would be dreaming of, very much the same as you is. I wish there was a time when people were more kind to one another, by and large. They didn't have slaves, which I can't say that exactly because we still have slaves somewhere in the world, even as we speak, but fewer. And there's technology where people can be on a video calling show.
Yeah.
So,
which is amazing.
Yeah. Well, think about think about how miraculous that would have been. Our world today, how miraculous that would have been to a slave in the time of the Roman emperors. What that means is what I'm driving at is that we're headed that way. We may have nukes, and we can think doomsday all day long. Could happen. Don't know. But at the same time, I think we're getting better. We're smarter than we ever have been before. And we'll just continue to get smarter. And with wisdom, like you said earlier, comes kindness to our fellow human being and empathy.
I don't know whether we're getting smarter. I think.
Oh, I think by and large we absolutely are.
I could offend people with this. So I don't want to. How to word it?
Well, while you're thinking of it, I just think it gives us hope.
Yeah, it does give us hope, but what I was trying to say is what worries me is that you're right about intelligence. Do you not think that the general populace are too easily? They'll read, you get your cell phone out. It says, I don't know, attack of the alien giant sausages. Just a crazy example. All of a sudden, you've got 1 billion people throughout the world believing that there's alien giant sausages.
Well, the only way we're going to find out is the next War of the Worlds radio broadcast. See what kind of panic that starts. That's the only way we would know for sure.
Do you think we are slaves to the internet?
I think we are absolutely slaves to the internet, but it's a masterless enslavement. We're self-enslaved
due to our own insecurities. What would you say it is?
No, I think it's our natural curiosity and our thirst for entertainment, which the internet provides ad nauseum, right?
Yeah.
Problem is there's so much misinformation as well. And we'll see. Like I was trying to tell King earlier, that perception is everything.
I just got to interrupt. How old is he?
I don't know. I think he's 14, 15 years old.
I was going to say, he ain't no more than 15.
No.
Got a brain on his head, hasn't he?
What's that?
He's got a brain on his head.
He does. He does. He cares, and that says more than I can say for a lot of kids his age.
It was nice. It was nice to see somebody sharing some, I'm sorry, but legitimate views, which ones what were relevant, and not sitting there screaming that they can't afford a PlayStation or something. It was nice. It was nice.
I agree. And we got Easton coming up. He's in the same boat. He's they're both bright kids, and they're trying to make a difference, which again gives me hope, because the pendulum will swing, my friend. Right now we're in a very, very low point as far as what you were saying is we're all addicted to the internet. That will change. The pendulum will swing. It'll move on to something else, whatever that might be. Hopefully it's a swing for the better, and then we'll see a surge of progress, for lack of a better term. in the
Yeah,
right direction, I hope.
I hope so. Right, can I give one final thought?
Absolutely.
Final thought. Right, my final thought is that time travel could be beneficial to the human race, but it could also be the end.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
As hit test with everything, people thought that a nuclear bomb might consume the planet. When they did the Hadron Collider, they thought it could create a black hole. We could create time, create a vortex, just suck ourselves into infinity.
Oh sure.
And yes, all right, let's just change. Right, if I was to have a time machine, Jim, I'd travel back through time. I'd go and meet Julius Caesar, and I'd give him a bag of sausages. There we go. We've ended it on a good note, haven't we?
We have.
Thank you, sir, once more for having me. It's always an honour. I was actually only coming up on this. You could see me in the background just to annoy you because I knew I was on yesterday. So I thought, I'm just going to hassle this man until he starts shaking his head and refuses me. I'm so honoured. Thank you.
No problem, dude. Thanks for being here.
God bless you.
Same. We'll see you. Oh man. I didn't realize that this, well, I should have realized that this would become such a deep subject, but it really has. And it's interesting. It's got me thinking a lot deeper than I would have thought that I'd done. By the way, I saw Jelly Duck in here. How you doing, Jelly Duck? Welcome to the show, Ahmed. Luke Duke, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Back from the sky. Welcome. There is a lot of lonely people out there. They're and not only that, dangerous. And you know, with great power comes great responsibility. If people did have a time machine, it could, you know, it could fall into the wrong hands, and God only knows what happens there. Let me. Oh, can I just? I'm just gonna throw your acronym up there if you don't mind. They'll know who you are. All right, hang on. All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, hold on here. Check something.
Sounds good.
Okay. Good.
Yep. All right. Northern Ohio Railroad Action. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Just fine. I'm mired in psychobabble in my head.
Well, I'm just so glad to follow Gamer. So hey, my pleasure.
I love that he's got something to say about everything. That's great. Nora,
Yep, he's a good guy.
Mm-hmm. He is. Well, did you have any thoughts on potential time travel yourself, or did you have something else you'd like to talk about?
Well, that's the kind of the reason why I thought to join tonight. As a rail fan here in Northern Ohio, I would love to go back in time.
Oh, I kind of know where you're going.
Yep. You know, I like I said, I'm really excited because this is a great subject for me to join.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of lucky too, because most of your chosen interest have been preserved all over at least this country and many others. So you get to go back in time to a certain degree and see, you know, how things were done. Although, you know, it'd be something else to actually see them all in action, wouldn't it?
Yep. You're from Indiana, correct?
Correct.
Well, you know where I'm going with this one. Nickel Plate Road 765 out of the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society.
No, I didn't know where you're going. Help me understand what that means.
Well, it's a Berkshire nickel plate road that is basically been preserved by the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society.
Oh.
And they actually still run it.
Wow.
In fact, it's come by where I live every year since 2011.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm surprised I hadn't heard of that, but of course I'm not an enthusiast, a railroad enthusiast like you are. But that's really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to mark that down because I want to go check it out.
Yeah, there's videos all over YouTube on that.
Really? I know there's some freaky stuff in Indiana for sure. Let's see. Fort Wayne. Pardon me while I scribble. All right, cool. Yeah, I will check that out because that sounds fascinating.
Hmm.
So, what would you really go back into time and do? Would you want to see, like railroads built? Would you like to see them in operation? Something else?
Pretty much all of the above. I would like to go back to see passengers, the how they use railroads for passengers back in the day.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. And you left out. You'd want to be up where the engineers are because that's true. Now I'd even want to be there. I
Just,
love seeing how things work.
just for you, yes.
But that's not true.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay.
I would like to be there, blow the whistle, feel the fire.
I want to know the path of the steam. I want to see the pistons. They're just fascinating machines.
Hmm.
I'm surprised I'm not an enthusiast as hobby laden as I am.
Yeah.
What got you into railroads, if you don't mind me
Well,
asking?
well, I live in a town with a railroad that throughout started off when I was a young kid. Then I just kind of grew up with it. I got me a camera in 2011, and that's just how I started with actually filming trains.
Oh, so you consider yourself a train watcher? I know there's a whole society built around that. Is that you?
Yep, I'm a we call it a rail fanning or rail fan.
Oh, rail fan? Oh, okay, cool. I learned
I
something.
mean, there's all sorts of words, but I like the proper term as a rail fan.
I like that too. I like that too. Kind of better than a train watcher. Train watcher sounds like you're just passively, watching it go by. New or old, for that matter. Um, and what's your favorite type of train, whether it be an engine or a car or a type of engine? Because I know they've got several, right? We've got steam. I'm gonna try to throw out some rail shit here if I can. Because what are the three main engines? We've got steam, we've got diesel, and electric, right? Okay. Do we have any petrol or just gasoline rail engines out there?
That I don't know.
Yeah, I've never heard of one, and you would know, and certainly more than I would. But those are the three big ones, and I could name 100 different types of. Well, no, I could name 5 different types of cars, and yes, it would include the caboose. What part of the rail or era, I should say, most fascinates you?
Well, I would like to go back in the nickel plate road days,
Yeah.
and just kind of seeing the black and yellow engines running through the area. I grew up in the town where basically nickel plate ran through here all the time.
Mm, very cool. Very cool.
And I know you got the Wabash.
Yep. That one I'm familiar with,
Hmm.
but only in passing.
But as I'm reading the chat, Jesse saying, "What about West?" I would like to see back. If I want to travel further back in time, 150 years ago for the Transcontinental Railroad, seeing the two railroads from the east and west meet up together, that would be pretty cool to see.
That would be very cool. That would be very cool. My favorite time in that general, area would be like the moment they first knew they were close enough to see each other. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like they were taking, F-250s back and forth. They're probably traveling by horse to find out where the other one was and making sure that they, were going to line up properly. That would have been a cool moment to know when they actually were aware that they were, coming down to the very end. That would be awesome. And of course, those are all going to be steam engines, I'm sure. So I can't think of any other type of engine off the top of my head that they would have used. Hmm. Yeah, I'm just surprised I'm not because I'm a gearhead. Any other, um, I don't know, things you'd like to see that are in our past?
I'm sure there is, but I just can't list it off my head right now.
Oh, that's cool. I probably have under myself, but I couldn't think of right now.
Well, they had the Lakeshore, Michigan, and Southern Railroad. They're like trolleys. You know
Yep. Yep.
that'd be pretty cool to see. But that goes right back in the passenger era.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Think about that for a minute. Did you hear what I was me and Not a Great Gamer was talking about when I said someone from the past in the time frames that we're talking about, what they thought the future might be like, and we're actually now living it. I think it'd be a lot of fun to hear what their vision of the 21st century would be.
Hmm.
God, I just can't imagine thinking that I'm going to head east and I'm going to be on a train for a week or two. That'd be funny,
Hmm.
but it'd be the norm. Well, Nora, listen, man, it's been great. Do you have anything else you want to go over, or shall I move? I'm gonna try to get
Nope.
east and up.
Nope. No, I'm gonna jump off here. That way you can have one more guest come on. But thank you for having me and everybody in chat. Thank you.
Well, thanks for being here, man, and we'll get you back on soon. Sound good?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Thank you.
You bet. Why am I not a rail fan? That's what I want to know. For the love of Pete, I love that sort of thing. God, that's all I need is another hobby. Don't get me started. Fucking light. Oh, I'm about to shoot my lights back here. I did see a couple people come in. Tony, view this. How you doing, buddy? Arthur Moorhead, you might be a little late, but I don't know if I'm going to get you up tonight. I've got Easton right ahead of you. Nancy Jones, Spirit of Colorado Railroad, how are you? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. There's my boy, Champ Works Garage. Oh, he said he was actually, you got to tag me, bud. Was in Omaha, Nebraska earlier this year and had lunch at the Union Pacific headquarters one day. Cool building. That's sweet. That's sweet, bud. You didn't even tell me about that. Mrs. Sister Donna Redneck, Way of Life Cantor. How you doing? Is that right, Cantor? Yes. Welcome to the show, by the way. That's a long name. All right, let's bring Easton up. Find out what's on his mind. Let me change the title there, bud.
How are you, Jim?
I'm fine, man. Why it seems like only yesterday.
I wonder why.
Unbelievable. It's like we haven't talked forever.
I cannot. Oh, sorry. I cannot wait till tomorrow's show because I'm not going to tell you what I've got up my sleeve. But it is going to be so funny, and I'm hoping I can get home in time to get on here. So if I have to pull what I did tonight, hopefully I can get on because I'm not going to spend much time. Hopefully I can get on for 30 seconds and just do the one thing I want to do because it's going to be funny. It's going to be bringing people back a couple days here. So
well, now I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, it's going to be funny. I've been looking forward to it all week.
Is that your dog?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the topic of the night. I actually, you got me hooked on something.
What's
Thanks.
that?
Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Magic Jones started it, and then you just completely and just fueled the fire. Which, thank you in two different ways, sarcastically and actually.
Okay, I'll take it.
So I saw your stream today. Stream number 2 about your second one about the studio equipment in your room there.
Yeah, my second studio tour.
Awesome! That is so awesome.
Thanks.
So have you even changed anything since then?
No, actually, everything is virtually identical except for this stupid ass light behind me that just turned red on it.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're my old stage lights, and they're just way past their prime. In fact, I'm I'm actually looking into replacing every single one of those cuss word here, cuss word there, and cuss word everywhere else as soon as I possibly can because they really ticked me off.
Yeah.
But
They're
that's what
blue
happens.
whenever the stream that I watched, they were blue, and I was like, wow, that's an old stream.
Well, they're all supposed to be this color right here. And you
Yeah.
can see one's turning green on me, and then this one just keeps popping in and out of red. I'm gonna shoot him.
That'd be fun. Come on.
You should have saved that for tomorrow night. That's a question for me.
When are you going to shoot your lights?
Hey, Mike, Creator Spotlight Show, then Mike Van Doozy. See you, bud. We'll see you later. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. This is what I'm wanting to do, and this is not. See, if you do a studio equipment topic again,
Uh-huh.
I am totally gonna be. Christian, quit messing with my camera, dog. You're annoying me. But no, you are not going to eat my camera. Go. So I see my bedroom. I'm turning it into a bedroom studio, and right over here to my right, I actually am trying to build my computer setup.
Uh-huh.
And I never knew that you could have vertical computers, like vertical monitors.
Oh no.
Christian, stop it. You just blew my mind. I was just like, what? What?
Well, it's the best thing. Yeah, it's the best thing since sliced cheese because I'm not always looking down or up,
Yeah.
depending where I've got them. This way they're right in my peripheral vision and you guys are right there in front of me. So I get to look at you for the most part. I thought about going with the sunglasses thing like Tony, but I'm not going to do it. As a jab at Tony. But thanks, man. Yeah, it's fortunately for me, I do this as part of my living, so it comes very easy, and some hobbies too. The audio stuff is all my hobbies, so it just came pretty natural.
Yeah. But see, I want to build like a bedroom music studio,
Mhm.
And what I would like to turn into eventually is once I'm an adult, I want Christian. Can you quit trying to take my earbuds out, buddy? I know you're trying to hijack, my interview here, buddy. But you're annoying me. I'm gonna cut you back on some dog treats if you keep doing this. Now he's like, oh no, you're not. But what I want to do is because I have 2 monitors right now,
Mhm.
and I have one old fart computer, and I've already told you about that.
Yeah.
But I have a newer monitor that barely fits in the little hole that I made for it because I've got so much crap there right now because I'm trying to set up my studio.
Mhm.
And I have my other monitors is my grandpa's replacement monitor right now. That's supposed to be a replacement. It was supposed to be a test monitor, but no, we're not gonna follow our words here. So I'm gonna hopefully get that monitor back, and I'm gonna put it there.
Mhm.
And then if I can get the vertical monitors, I'm gonna put those up on the wall and have them, those like little TV like arm thingies where you can move your TV and it
Sure.
like has a metal arm.
Yep.
I'll probably have those and try to lean them down a little bit.
Sure.
I put 2 of them up there and just keep adding on stuff. See, here's the deal. After watching that stream, my Amazon wish list got about $400 more expensive.
Sorry.
I have no, don't worry. My parents.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. No. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so on that wish list, I have like over 100 microphones that I want, like the SM7B and all kinds of other microphones that I really want.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm never gonna get. I think I'm gonna get the SM7B, but I've got to save up money. It's like because it's just as expensive as the music software that I want to get. So
yeah, I wouldn't start out with one of those right away. It's too expensive, and you can get some really, really nice mics for half of that. Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting the Snowball too instead of the SM7B.
Well, the Snowball's good, but think about the Yeti. The Yeti's a little bit better. From that perspective, the Snowball is kind of a jack of all trades. It's a fine mic for $50, but
yeah.
But you spend a little bit more for the Yeti and an arm, and for what you're going to do, and I think you'll find it's a little bit more versatile. If all you're going to do is sit in front of it and talk, they're great mics, fantastic mics. I still have one. I use it. I actually use it on my kick drum to drive the lights during a show. Every 4th pound, it changes to another scene, and when these stupid ass lights are working right, they will do something different, depending on how I programmed it. So
Wow, I want to see. Thing is, this is another thing that I want to do. You see, I want one day. See, my parents are Christian. Will you stop? Okay, please, dog. My dog. He tries his best to annoy me, and what he does what a kid is supposed to do to their parents. Except he does that to his owner. It's very annoying, but he trains me quite well.
the best thing about animals, dogs, that they love you unconditionally.
Oh yeah, I complain about this dog all the time because he's so annoying, but he's also so cute.
You'll miss him when he's gone.
Oh yeah, I know. see, the thing is that he's I don't know how he puts up with it, but I sometimes stay up till 1 o'clock just working on music and playing my guitar.
Sure.
I don't know how my dog puts up with that. Sometimes he kind of gives me the death stare, but I don't know how. See, dogs, they put up with so much.
Yeah, mine just leaves the room.
Yeah, he can't leave the room because I have the door shut.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that.
But what?
I said there is that.
Yeah, because I don't want him getting in the trash. So
right.
Even though he does that anyway, but because I have a trash in here, I've learned something that really helps a lot when you have a trash can in your room. That helps so much.
Really?
Yeah, it's not even a trash can. It's just a trash bag that I have hanging on my door that I probably need to put in a trash can, but I haven't bought one yet. So.
Well, we're getting off in the weeds. Well, let's get back to what you were wanting to say.
Trash cans. That's our topic for the night.
Yeah, trash cans. That's going to be my next subject. Trash cans. Yay or nay?
Yeah. Oh man. What was I talking about? Yeah. Oh yeah.
3 viewers later. Oh great! Now he's going for trash cans. I'm not watching that.
Oh man, I got somebody. You're running me down a rabbit trail right now. It's even more stories.
I'm trying to get back on track. Trying to get back on track. Where were we?
I'm not even gonna say that. Okay, but
you had some things you actually wanted to say. You said one. You had what was your other one that you actually wanted to say when you came on? Not for tomorrow night show. But
I don't remember. But yeah, one of these days, what I'm wanting to do is, you see, my computer it's so old. It's just crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wanting to pull a Magic Jones and just throw that thing in the trash and build my own computer. That's what I would like to do. And then, now I remember where I was going at. Now I remember before we went to trash cans.
Careful.
So one of the things I want to do, because you were talking about programming lights.
Uh-huh.
My parents are never going to allow me to do this, but I really want to do those Christmas light displays on houses.
Sure.
I want to do one of those, but I want to do it in my own style, to where I literally work all year for it, to where every single night is its own different show on the light display, and I literally spend time every single day preparing for it, where it's different songs that are all of my originals, like Christmas originals. It's gonna take years just to get up to that, and where I have all the songs programmed. Some of the songs are repeated throughout the night, but just it's just different shows, and basically they kind of have their own purpose if you stay there for the entire show.
Sure.
That's what I would like to do. So if you stay there for 15 minutes, I do a 15-minute show on Luke. That's what I would. That's what I'm kind of thinking. But unless Christian,
are we talking about on your house?
Well, I would like to.
Oh, okay.
But that's never going to happen. We don't have. See, we live on our house is on a cul-de-sac.
Oh. So
we don't have the room to do that for parking.
And
also,
traffic.
My parents never allow me to do that.
Yeah.
But you see, where I want to live out in the country. So there's not going to be a whole lot of people who are going to come and watch that, and they're not going to park in a field in front of my house watch it either, because I don't want people leaving crap in my field. So no, that's not happening.
Sure.
So what I would like to do is and I'm not going to mention the mill because people will look it up and get a general idea of where I'm at. But there's a mill that I don't know who, I think it's my mom's, I guess it's my great grandpa on my mom's side, I think. I don't know. But he used to cut hair at this mill, and I don't know. See, we have a mill in our town that they're doing a huge restoration on right now. And I got to take a tour of that mill when I was in 2nd grade, and ever since then I've been fascinated with mills.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one guy is with railroads, except now I'm fascinated with grain mills. Yay! But
Everybody's got to like something.
I want to buy this mill that I guess my great grandfather cut hair at. I want to buy that, and then I could probably do the light display on the mill. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So
that would be cool.
Or on a shed or something. I don't know. That may be all I can afford.
Well, that would be a really good place to start, actually, at your age, especially. Yep. Start small, learn the basics, and then you can. I know some people who do that, and there's quite the learning curve. But once you are at a certain level, man, you could do any house and do anything you want to with it. So I would start small. Hell, do it on your bedroom wall. You know what I mean? Seriously.
I might have to do that. I might have to do that. Like do a live stream in my bedroom, like get a really good camera and just like turn this wall over here, just put a bunch of lights on it. Not sure, because my grandma's my landlord, so I'm not sure how she would think about that. But whatever.
Well, having said what you said earlier, you're gonna turn your bedroom into a studio, and of course, you're already thinking about mics and some of the other ancillary equipment. If you go to build a computer, or even if you go to modify the computer you have, make sure you spend the majority of your money on a good video card. Because live streaming and even video editing doesn't rely so much on the main processor as it does on the video processor. And a bad video card will kill. Yeah, a bad video card will kill a fantastic processor. So always keep that in mind.
Yeah, and there's so many different things I'm gonna have to do to that thing. Even just to modify the computer.
What kind of processor running? Do you know?
I have no clue. I've never run it before. I've never turned it on the computer.
Okay.
Whenever it's been sitting in my bedroom at my grandpa's house on the floor, in a corner for months now.
Sure.
And I was just like, I'm getting it out of there. I'm tired of looking at it. And now it's it's holding stuff that I probably need to find a place for.
Yeah.
Like I have 2 dressers in here. I have one. Well, never mind. I'm not going to go on that story. But,
well, you can't because we're already 7 minutes past the hour.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you up. See, that's the thing. Whenever school starts, if I can get on the show, you can get to bed on time. So.
Oh, you say that now. But you're not the only one.
Yeah,
like I've got Arthur waiting in the waiting room. There's just no way I can do it tonight because I got to go out to my boys early tomorrow morning and help him out with some stuff. So, Arthur, I hope you can call back tomorrow, dude.
Whenever he said that he was going to be on there, I was hoping that I could just talk for like 5 minutes and give him a couple minutes, because whenever whoever the railroad guy was on, I was like, oh man, I really hope I can get on here. And I was wanting to return the favor to him, but I was like, it's not going to happen, because I just realized it's not going to happen. I totally forgot about that. I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, it does happen. And
sorry if you're watching. I was going to be nice, but I forgot about that.
Well, I'm sure Arthur will understand. He's actually been on the show a few times, and Arthur, call back tomorrow if you would, because I want to hear. You can actually talk about your time travel tomorrow if you want to. Tomorrow night is Ask Jim Anything, so that can be a free for all of sorts. So.
Yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow's show, because like I said, I have a funny. Is that the most funniest thing that's ever been said on the show? Because not a great gamer has been on the show, but it's definitely. I think it'll make you laugh, and it's definitely probably the top of my comedical skill, which is the bar is quite low on that. So.
Well, I certainly look forward to it, and that'll be your last night, won't it? Or no.
No, I have all next week, and then my parents said I can stay up till 9:30. So if I can get on early, then I should be able to get on the show and hopefully shut up before
9:30. Okay. Well, cool. Then we will actually see you tomorrow night, won't we?
Yeah, and hopefully Friday morning.
Cool.
If I get up.
All right, bud. Well, I'm gonna shut her down for tonight, though. Okay.
All right. Have a great evening.
You too. Thanks for coming on.
See you tomorrow.
That'd be cool. I can't wait to see what he does with his home studio. I'm a huge fan of. I love this sort of stuff. Well, like I said, tomorrow night we are going to, I'm going to open up the floor to questions for me. Ask me anything. Sorry. I, for some reason, love that thumb. It was one of those things I took a picture for Pusha Studios and actually used that as my, as my next thumbnail. Hello, awesome epic adventures. Welcome to the show. Oh, and Andrew Frying Pan. How you doing, buddy? Mr. Lodak. Good to see you as well. Hey, time travel. This went over real well. I might have to do another one. I'll listen to you folks, and you guys can tell me whether or not that is something I should explore. If you'd like to talk about it in greater detail, Arthur, I'm sorry we didn't get to you tonight. I hope you do call back tomorrow night. But listen, that's gonna do it for me tonight. It's like I said, I got to get over to my boys and do some work. Thanks to all my guests for coming on tonight. They're fantastic, and you guys in the chat, wow, you're working it. Did I see your email? Yes, I did see your email, Easton. I just haven't had a chance to respond to it yet. Thanks for the suggestions, and we will talk about that Instagram thing. So, hey, folks, if you're watching this after it's been processed, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and ring that bell so you don't miss another episode. For everyone, remember to treat others the way you would want to be treated. If we all did that, this world would be a better place to live. Good night, folks. We'll see you live.